Hello, I'm Mark Corcoran and welcome to My Country, Australia, where we explore what Australian filmmakers have to say about their own country. Well, when European settlers first arrived here in Australia through the spectacular Sydney Heads, one of the first things they did was to sweep away Aboriginal law. The ancient system of justice and retribution administered by tribal elders. Now, in a bid to reduce violent crime, the Australian criminal justice system is examining whether in fact anything can be learned from the past. In this documentary, we meet an Aboriginal community from the Northern Territory that has returned to the traditional methods of justice. Here's My Country, Bush Law.
We, the people of Lajamano, are from the Walpi tribe, one of many Aboriginal tribes living in Australia.
Nambo. And wala rela bede ngola look inara. Ina wala anina damap.
The Lajamano community has one of the lowest crime rate of all Northern Territory Aboriginal community. We believe the reason why we have very little violence and crime in our community is in the strength of Aboriginal law and our people's respect for it. We believe the solution to the problem of growing crimes and violence in Aboriginal communities will only be found if the Australian government legally recognises the practice of Aboriginal law, language and culture.
Walbridge system is very strong, and Walbridge system is really important to us. We got to teach our children, like we're still teaching our children. But how can we teach our children when we start up with one thing and allow on one hand to be afraid to allow to teach our children, and while we start up with the other hand, the government won't let us do those things anymore, which is really bad for our people. Because I think when we start breaking their law, they will start breaking our law too. But we get punished by their law. They don't get punished by our law. So what is the difference here? They walk away with free.
Aboriginal elders at a remote Northern Territory community are calling on the Australian legal system to punish a police officer for breaking the law when she went onto a sacred site during an initiation ceremony.
They came into the community, checking up on vehicles, checking up on people who got no license or smashed up cars running around. But that's okay, people saw that, you know. But the problem went a little bit out of hand, I think. We had a female, a police officer, accompanied by two male officers. They went into areas where young initiatives stay there, away from the community, just outside of the community, and it's only a place where men can go, you know. Now women, or even visitors, career visitors, you know, or even Yapa visitors. But anyway, because they were the police and they were doing their duty, and they just went ahead and done the investigation or their duty beyond some areas that they weren't allowed. It was really terrible and horrible for really upset people, mothers, aunties, grandmothers, sisters, fathers, uncles, grandfathers, everybody. The whole community was very upset because the police just went ahead and did what they wanted without even asking for directions or if they were allowed to go in there or if it was okay or anything like that. They didn't even bother to do that. They just went ahead and did it anyway because you got that patch, and that gives her the right to go anywhere. Now, regardless of our culture or the significance of our sacred sites, why can't the police department and police, women and men, respect our sacred sites and our law?
We don't have a problem with domestic violence in the community. Most of the young men, they understand, when we talk to them, tell them not to do this and that, they listen. The upper law is still strong, and we got elders in the community, they're strong. We got law and order.
When white people say that we are losing control of our power, we still got our law. I don't see that we do our laws night by night, day by day. We're still doing our duty. We're still showing our children the way to go about when our people passed away.
Today we honour the Indigenous peoples of this land, the oldest continuing cultures in human history. We apologise for the laws and policies of successive parliaments and governments that have inflicted profound grief, suffering and loss on these our fellow Australians.
When I was a little boy, I remember the red truck that was picking people up at Yundumu. And even though they were taking some young people away from father and mother, taking away from parents, even end up in a different country with different people, different language, different dream time. When we talk about not only some half-caste people, the stolen generation, we are the black people, the stolen generation too also. And today, when we're looking back, what happened in those years, when the natives were controlling everything, they had to do what they liked with the Aboriginal people. More like they were taking people like shifting cattle from one paddock.
Yeah, we had no choice.
No, we had no choice because in those days, if I said no, I've got to get a big hiding from policeman or from a superintendent. Korea people think evolution. They don't see us as human beings. And that's where the mistake is. That's what's taught in a lot of Korea schools. That's how you make the upper people low and feel weak. Because we're not human. We never evolved properly. We are still primitive through the eyes of the Korea.
and that is very wrong. All men are equal. For too long it's been, we know what's best for Aboriginal people, we know what you want, we know what you need. This is what you need, that is what you need, this is how you do it. It's been always them telling us how to do things, and how to work this, and how to make things for the benefit of the communities. But no. You come halfway, we'll come halfway. And let's work together. Your idea and my idea. Make them as one.
The truth is, a business-as-usual approach towards Indigenous Australians is not working. Most old approaches are not working. We need a new beginning. A new beginning which contains real measures of policy success or policy failure. A new beginning, a new partnership on closing the gap with sufficient flexibility not to insist on a one-size-fits-all approach for each of the hundreds of remote and regional Indigenous communities across the country, but instead allows flexible, tailored, local approaches to achieve commonly agreed national objectives that lie at the core of our proposed new partnership.
We'd like to see our customary law and our culture to be recognized through the whitefellas law and their system. But what we'd like to see is Yabba getting punished through our law, through our custom and our rights. And then, after they've been through our punishment, our tribal punishment, they can be taken away and dealt by the whitefellas law. As long as they've been through our law, punishment, tribal law, I don't care how long they can go to jail for. As long as they've cleared the family name and cleared the problem according to our eyes, through the way we look at it as tribal people. You know, you see a lot of violence when things like tribal punishment doesn't take place. Not only in our tribe, in Walpi tribe, but in other tribes in all of Australia too. When tribal punishment doesn't take place before the whitefella law comes in and locks our people away, the violence gets worse.
My life been really like a nightmare to me, because my young sister done a manslaughter and she's locked up in jail. Even though she got punished through white men, but in Aboriginal law she didn't, so she have to go back and face the Block family. A lot of people got hurt because my sister went in jail. She didn't do a payback. If she could have that payback, everybody wouldn't get hurt. If they can't get to the main person, they go for the family, the closest family. I'm big sister for my young sister. We from one mother, one father. Even if they can't get to her, they have to get to me. It took probably 1 month for them to catch up to me, so I had no choice. So I went to the Oval and they hurted me, probably 13, 12 women. They all had nala and they hit me. They broke this one here. So I had some stitches in my head, swollen arm. They will keep on chasing people till they get to the right person. They'll never forget nothing.
Living in Australia.
Nambo. And wala rela with ngola look inera. Enya wala anera damap.
The Ladamir community has one of the lowest crime rate of all Northern Territory Aboriginal community. We believe the reason why we have very little violence and crime in our community is in the strength of Aboriginal law and our people's respect for it. We, the people of Lajamano, are from the Walpi tribe, one of many Aboriginal tribes.
Hello, I'm Mark Corcoran and welcome to My Country, Australia, where we explore what Australian filmmakers have to say about their own country. Well, when European settlers first arrived here in Australia through the spectacular Sydney Heads, one of the first things they did was to sweep away Aboriginal law. The ancient system of justice and retribution administered by tribal elders. Now, in a bid to reduce violent crime, the Australian criminal justice system is examining whether in fact anything can be learned from the past. In this documentary, we meet an Aboriginal community from the Northern Territory that has returned to the traditional methods of justice. Here's My Country, Bush Law.
We believe the solution to the problem of growing crimes and violence in Aboriginal communities will only be found if the Australian government legally recognises the practice of Aboriginal law, language and culture.
World-bridge system is very strong, and world-bridge system is really important to us. We got to teach our children, like we're still teaching our children.